I know why 50% of the people never had to accept cards, because card acceptance is expensive. Like, somebody who has bought a laundromat for $70,000, it's hard for them to say $40,000 is extra just to get the card acceptors on.
I've been watching this shift happen where people are like, I don't really want pickup and delivery. It's too much work. It's more liability. I'm taking responsibility for people's clothes. But like I was kind of mentioning earlier, like we're sort of in like a gold rush type of scenario here with this pickup and delivery. And so people are starting to see exactly what you're saying, that the pickup and delivery is actually more valuable. And I would even take it further and say that
if you have a stable pickup and delivery business, you're even more golden than a stable self-service business. That's exactly like software. Like, as I said, a lot of people are now realizing that what bigger money decisions made have a lot of criterias which run on it. And now, as new operators or younger generation, this information is getting more and more democratized. Everybody gets to learn, oh, this is why.
if you're not staying up with the technology, if you're not running your business well, like it used to be, even when I got in the business, it was like, keep your place clean, keep your machines running, and smile when people come in, and you're gonna own your market. Like, everybody's gonna come to you, because you can't find that at a lot of laundromats. Well, that's starting to change now.
Trust me, you still have to do these four. If you can't do these four, then no matter what technology you put in, it's gonna be hard.
That's exactly right. Like, that's the baseline now. That's zero. That's ground level. And you got to go up from there. It used to be, that was the pinnacle. Like, right? If you could do those things, you're there. You're going to dominate your market.
We're growing. That's what I'm saying. Every market is growing. Every market has more customer expectations.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jordan with the Laundromat Resource Podcast. This is show 184, and I'm pumped you're here today, because today we have Sukanth from Turns back on the show. Genuinely, it's always one of my favorite interviews. He brings so much knowledge. I love the way he thinks about this business. But today he's coming with a huge industry rattling announcement, and I can't wait for you to dive into what this announcement is with him and with me and with all of us, and hear some of the implications on how it might affect you either directly or probably will affect you at the very least indirectly in very awesome ways. Super excited for you to hear this one. Good stuff is happening in this industry. And listen, we got to stay on top of it. All right. So today you're going to hear all about this breaking news, and let's get after it. Okay. Let's utilize these things that people are building for us to serve our customers better, to transform communities, and to put money in our pockets so that we can build the lives of our dreams. That's what it's all about, right? All right. Let's jump into it, straight into it with Sukanth, so that way you don't have to wait for anything. Here we go. Sukanth, how you doing, man?
All well, man. You're my first influencer. I've been following you since all the people came in, so I feel like I've known you for a long time. But so whenever I have to, like, you have to spread a rumor. You have to tell the best friend. You're my best friend to tell people any of the great things and you spread it out evenly. Like, you have lovers everywhere. You have even people following you in India, man. You're like, look at your YouTube comments. People are asking.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, I appreciate that. And, with that said, let's drop a bomb here. You've got an announcement to make. You've got some gossip to distribute. So let's distribute it. What's going on over there?
Well, now PayRange is working with PayRange. We were working in a partnership. Now we are completely acquired by PayRange. We get to access all the American horsepower, all the mileage. Now we get to build a very fast product. We've been great at software. I think PayRange is one of the most innovative companies in US in terms of laundromats in hardware. I think they're perfect for this. And both our teams now have worked together, so now have a clear understanding. I love the PayRange team. I love that they've been able to break out in this very competitive industry with such little resources. They've been there for almost a decade. Paresh is one of the people that I look up to, and I believe that this gives us the opportunity to now take on people and bring organized chaos. We're gonna build so much software, we're gonna build so much hardware, we're gonna combine it so much better. It's gonna be so Trump. It's gonna be so fun. I'm loving this.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were talking before hitting that record, and you were talking about, hey, we're excited. We're going to be trying a whole bunch of different things, causing all kind of chaos, and you just had the biggest grin on your face, and I love that, man. I love, the idea of this merger, this acquisition of PayRange and Turns, kind of coming together to try some new stuff, to innovate some new stuff, to integrate things, and to try to help laundromat owners achieve their dreams. We were talking about that before we hit record too, of like, we're both just super excited about trying to help people achieve their dreams through the vehicle of laundromats. And, we're both doing it in very different ways, but I'm excited about the little twinkle you have in your eye right now.
Laundromats are, I feel like laundromat operators are smart people. Like, that's why I love this community, because I get to come here and actually tell them that we are the smart people. And like, it's a very famous line by those, like by a Russian poet, Dostoevsky, that all the terrible people are great together, and we are great together because we are different, because we didn't start restaurants, or we didn't start the easy ones. We took a way which is weirder, which anybody who hears for the first time, hey, you own a laundromat, they're like, okay, this is different. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a normal reaction. If you would say, hey, I own a restaurant, I own a taco store, I own the, like, people, I work with a salon, they're like, yeah, you're of that type. But laundromat operators, 50% of them, they are in you, like MIB people, men in black. You can never know a laundromat operator from a non-laundromat operator. They're
Yep.
always among you. And somebody owns all those good properties that people are not able to buy and are making so many requests for. So I love laundromats. Laundromat operators and dry cleaners across the globe are similar. I get to work with them. I get to be a part of a great community. And I genuinely believe this is an underserved, we are an underserved community. And there are people in this community which can do something about it. So why not? Like, why should restaurant guys have all the fun? Like, we can build so much stuff. We can make this industry look so sexy and attractive by actually moving fast. As I was telling you, this industry has had people working for it for years and generation. Like, I would like to pass on my respects to like of ESD, Fastcard, CCI. They've been there for decades, who have worked very hard. Even PayRange, who have given decades to this industry. And it needs resources for somebody to break out and build out the fast hardware and software changes that are responsible. And this is where the future is moving towards. And I think we lean back on them. We lean on their great works. But I think the time is now for us to build faster stuff, is to build new stuff that gets people excited into the industry. I think there is a renaissance of now sort. This renaissance, by the way, happened outside the world 2 years ago, like just before COVID. I think this has happened a bit later in US, so now it's like become too big. And it's because everybody was seeing which industry has customers which do not leave. And you would realize laundry and laundromats and dry cleaners are people who have relationships for generations with the same property, with the same. Like, if you go to so many reviews of laundromats, people actually say, hey, I was young and I used to come to this laundromat. And now I'm old, I still come to this laundromat. And uncle has sold this to a new guy, I'll be your patron. Like, in which business do you get this? 90% of the food businesses are dead after a generation and a half. It's impossible to pass it on to three generations. That's why there are only a few McDonald's type of franchisees left. So, and in this industry, 50% of the laundromats still don't accept card. 70% of them understand that they need to do wash dry food, but are not able to go full in, because, and that's because there needs to be an architecture of people leading the way and technology absolutely flowing through it. Like I have always felt in a class, most of the people who pass are usually where it's not just the guys at the best who are studying, it's the guys in the middle who want to work hard too. And there is a lot of opportunity here. I get to work in this in. I get to work with PayRange into tapping all those laundromats and trying to bring them to the next stage and bring more money into this ecosystem. I genuinely believe that there is great times ahead for this industry. There is a lot of shakeup that's going to happen. Obviously, the industry has been slow, and that's why all the laundromat operators now look smart because they bought in when they saw it was slow. And everybody who's buying right now probably is still not buying at peak. Like, this is my opinion.
I agree with that.
This is still not peak. There is still peak left. And it's still smart to get into this industry. I think the smarter would have been to get into this 5 years early.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. And obviously, it's like similar to real estate, right? You look around, and you're like, man, I should have bought right before COVID when interest rates were low.
It looked so smart then, right? Like to be in all the equity and all the Facebooks and all the Google, and everybody was so happy. But finally, the realization is that laundromats, dry cleaners, these are hard stored businesses. They are gonna stay for a long period of time.
Yep.
There is no usually going away of this. And people might think that, hey, laundromats are commodity. I don't think so. Like, even out of 10 laundromats, only 5 laundromats do well. That shows you that there is appreciation for service. There is appreciation for an eye. There is an appreciation by the customer. They're not ready to eat all the shit that everybody is ready to produce. So if you have to work towards that idea, if you have to build more specialization, it means you have to work on it, and it means that you need to have partners who can actually do that for you. And here we are. I think it's a good time to be a smart guy in laundromats.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny because you mentioned like there's so many laundromats that don't do well, and 99 times out of 100, I or really probably anybody listening to this can walk into a laundromat and have a pretty good idea of if it's doing well or not. There's a lot of things in common that the successful owners, have that struggling owners.
I think it's a rolling hill.
Have in common.
Like, it's a rolling hill. If it starts to go bad, it will go worse. Like, you lose all your money, dude. You'll not lose some money. You'll lose all your money. But if you start making it, you'll make double of your money, 5 times of your money in a smaller span of time. And so, yes, I think there has to be care for it because this is the time. I think there is peak to be had. We are probably at 25%, 35%. Like, I genuinely believe 65 is still left. I know people who are in this feel that, hey, it's already so expensive. I think people will appreciate a stabler revenue far more in the future than they have till today. With all the technology that's going in, with all the technology that's coming in, nobody knows where the next future revenue is going to come in. And if you have a laundromat and it has stable revenue, that's probably closest to gold you would have right now. So yes, we are still away from peak.
Yeah, I agree. I was starting to say, like, it reminds me of like everybody's like, oh, I should have bought real estate in the 90s when it was basically free. And now, but I feel like we're still kind of in the 90s of laundromats here, right? Like prices have gone up. Yes. It's not the 70s of laundromat or of real estate anymore, right? But it's still the 90s of laundromats where there is still value to be had, both in the cash flow side and the equity.
I would genuinely say this. Like, I see a lot of people commenting on how much a laundromat should be worth and everything. Dude, if it doesn't make me money, why would I sell? Like, you have to go. Sadly, and this is my opinion. I might be 100% wrong. You should walk out of probably 1,000 deals before making a wrong deal, but then you'll probably never make a deal. Like, if it's gonna be such a hidden gem, dude, it's very hard to find hidden gem. Like, that's why it's rare. And a laundromat income being given like a laundromat business, not the real estate. The laundromat business being given a multiple of 2x, 3x. Like real estate is being given much more multiple than that. Why would you give somebody who has actually created a laundromat lower or an equal vertical? A real estate is completely passive or mostly passive. Laundromat is much more unpassive if you want to grow revenue than a real estate would be. So I see a correction there. I see an arbitrage there, and I see anybody who, like more people who have more money to invest would appreciate this. So I see that's why there is a lot of space still left. That's why this is still 90s, as you were mentioning. Like for some places, for some restaurants, this is 2020. Nobody knows what's gonna like is a good taco place today going to stay a great taco place after 5 years when all the cooks have gone and the founder has made their money and sold to private equity? No, but a laundromat can, because where would everybody else go? So stable income, best income is going to be more valued if you can still get into the industry, if you can still make sure that you find not a hidden gem, just a gem in general, you'll be good. I think you'll make money.
Yeah. And I mean, I talk to a lot of real estate investors right now who, are buying real estate happy with a 7% return on your money. And you can do much, much better than that with laundromats. And, I've been seeing, I don't know if you've been seeing, but I talk to people all over the place and analyze a lot of deals, right? And those multiples have been creeping up more and more and more. And I think that's going to continue going forward, because it just, and especially as like things like this PayRange-Turns thing, happens, because when that happens, guess what? You're making it easier for me as an owner and an operator to operate my business, to own and operate multiple locations, even remotely, or to manage a staff that's managing multiple businesses. Right now, all of a sudden, you're making it easier for me to grow that business. And the more I do that, the more valuable and attractive that becomes to a sophisticated investor or business owner who might want to come in and buy that.
I think the investment, what we've seen across ages is that it's getting harder to build a stable revenue. It genuinely is. Like today, it's harder to build a smaller business than a big business. Mm-hmm. Like it probably would take the same amount of effort. If you want to go higher, it takes the same amount of effort. If you want to go low, you're going to have the same hours. You're going to have the same commitment. Sadly, you're just going to have a lower payoff. So the idea is to be on the other end, not on the guy with the other end of the stick. So in my opinion, this is going to creep up. This is always going to creep up. Real estate is real. Business is real. It's real. It's not speculation. It's not, okay, this may go big. This is going to be real. This is going to serving real people, serving real part of community. People want their lives to become easier. I think America is slowly realizing to the fact that yes, life can get easier if you pass on some of the work to other people. It's getting to that direction where it's becoming more of a service economy. And this is the direction everybody's going. Like in restaurants these days, a full service restaurant versus a non-service restaurant, you can actually see the difference in sales. You can actually see physically where you would go. So you need to make a laundromat a place where you would want to go and get that number in line. And I just hold on for the ride. I think every laundromat operator in US, probably in the next 5 years, is going to get 3 acquisition of at least. It's their choice. They get the right one, whether they want to sell or not. 99.9% of the businesses in US will never have this offer. Nobody wants to buy a restaurant easily because they know once Robin is gone from the restaurant, there is no more restaurant.
Yep. And it's a hard business. Restaurants are hard business, hard industry.
Not just restaurants, like even salons, like they come in with the idea that, and that's what I'm saying. Like the idea that a laundromat operator gets 5 bids on their business is astronomically different because 99% of the people can never exit the business. Like this is a business where you can come in and can choose when to leave. The rest of the businesses are Hotel California. You can just choose to come in. There is no way you can leave. You can leave if your kids want to do the same thing. Look at why dry cleaners died. Dry cleaners died because the next generation did not want to pick up the heavy effort that they had to do. Where did that money go? That money went nowhere. Now, what I see is most of the dry cleaners who died, but the ones are left are making 1.5 times the money or
Mm-hmm.
twice the money. So
Mm-hmm.
anybody who wants to stay in the business is gonna make money. And it also has a place where you can leave. Like there are very few roads in America which will give you this opportunity to have an exit and have an entry.
Yeah. Just yesterday, I was talking with a buddy of mine who owns a few laundromats in Seattle area. And he was just saying, hey, I've got a seller finance deal and it's got a balloon payment coming up. I'm thinking about maybe selling one of my laundromats to pay off that note. Like, I don't really want to go with the broker. How hard do you think that's going to be? And I was like, I could probably send one email right now and get you multiple offers because it's an unattended laundromat. It's netting good money, 5 figures plus and every month and is already set up. It's turnkey. And I was like, I don't think you're going to have any problems selling that thing at all for a good multiple.
And the fact is, everyone knows this. Like any smart operator now in the business understands this. And it's a patient business. Like you can't be impatient here. Like obviously, and I don't want to be the laundromat guru, but I'm just saying from a tech perspective also, for me also, building hardware and software takes some time, but the intention and the direction should be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
I think laundromat is the same kind of business. That's why I love laundromat and SaaS software because it's very similar. The margins are pretty similar. Once it's paid off, the amount of money that you can make is amazing. Like once I build the product to an extent, then the next set of improvements consistently keep becoming lighter in vain. There are very few businesses which give this opportunity. And
Yeah.
laundromat operators need to understand that not only they, but everyone would probably pay for this, is paying for it today also. Like sometimes I hear the multiples for which the laundromat goes. I also think is this peak, but that's where you can go. That's where I think more and more organized finance will come in. It's already coming in.
Yep.
And those guys see a lot more deals than any of us. If they see that the multiples are rising and growing and they're okay with it, trust me, we should be okay with it. We have a lot less riding on it than BlackRock would be.
Yeah, they're not okay with it. They're excited about it because the multiples now you can't find another business like that. And what's interesting about our business right now is that kind of like you were saying, this has been like a stable business forever, slow to change, not just in technological development, but they tend to be slow to grow, and growth has been slow. But as opposed to maybe like a restaurant could get super popular and hit gold for a while, and it'll have its run, but then eventually that's going to fizzle out. What's unique about right now and what's interesting about this merger, this acquisition between, PayRange and Turns right now is there kind of is a little bit of a gold rush happening right now in our industry, which hasn't happened ever maybe with the pickup and delivery and the drop-off service, where there's a lot of we're scratching the surface right now. There's a lot of business to be had and to be won right now. And I think the owners that jump in, start utilizing this new technology, to build these businesses along with their sort of savvy business practices, right, are going to build a really solid foundation there and are really going to be able to capitalize as this thing. I mean, we're seeing growth like this, and at some point here, I think it's going to hockey stick on us. And the people who were set up well are going to do really well when it really hockey sticks.
I genuinely feel this is going to go exactly like dry cleaners. I think dry cleaners, what you would see is that there are fewer number of people owning a lot of stores and making a lot of money and being a full service business. Like, I understand there is a passivity to laundromats and there are always going to be passive operators. But those passive operators are going to eat or probably sell on the highest multiples. And anybody who's buying at that multiple, dude, has to be modern. You cannot buy a passive laundromat and stay passive, because then you lose money. And as I said, once it rolls down, it will roll down. It will it will roll down even faster probably. So the idea is that if you buy a laundromat, you have to be set up with the way that the next guy who's gonna buy is gonna be the guy who's paying the maximum for it. And there, as you mentioned, in restaurants, the best business for a restaurant is at the start of the restaurant. That's when they make the most amount of money. Usually, after 3 years, a restaurant sales has fallen down because people who have tasted it, there is no novelty factor. There are few people. A laundromat should be at its peak and the third year, because now more people know of it. Now more people have chosen the service. Now more people want to avail further. So this is a business which will always go in this direction. There is never this direction. If this goes in this direction, this is death. It's very hard to replace this direction. So a laundromat is always going to keep growing at a slower pace. So be it. The fact is, everybody is realizing that profit at all cost is gone. Like it's gone. Like there is so much money being cut in America, like which was spending it for all costs. So that behavior is changing across the globe. Everybody wants to have a sustainable number. Everybody wants their employees to feel safe. Everybody wants their employees to feel that they'll have a job tomorrow. This is not a hire, pump and dump ecosystem. And stable is going to become the new sexy. And when stable becomes the new sex, and it is already, by the way, stable is the sexy.
Yeah.
Like, and it's gonna bring sexy back even further. Like, more stable it is, the better it is gonna be. It's gonna be valued, and you might see in future a laundromat valuation number which is double of of other businesses. Like, I genuinely see that number coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I've already started seeing it. I've seen self-serve laundromats without drop off doing more business than I've ever seen before. And then when that's added to it, like it's happening. Like this is not like a off in the future thing. This is something that's happening right now. And that consolidation is happening right now, where fewer owners are owning more locations, and some locations are just going away, and they're
like
not.
Tide came in with a 200 location in a year ecosystem, and that's one. So that's they've become the biggest player by just opening it in a year. So if Tide finds even 50% of the success, just think how many people have that sort of cash lying around for in America for this kind of a fun experiment. So there is, and by the way, I work with Tide on the other side. So they keep buying dry cleaners left, right, and center, because whichever dry cleaner does well, they buy. And I could see this happening in this ecosystem also. Like, to dominate any location you would want to, or dominate any specific areas, you would want to be in the best business. You would want to have a business which is working. And private equity or people with money don't mind paying money. What they mind is the validity of that business. If you are able to prove that you are what you are, you get paid more than what you say that, hey, I am the best, but I just don't have numbers to prove it. Everybody will give you a lower valuation. Like, nobody will give you the money just based on your word. If you can prove what you are, I think there is always more money to be had.
Yeah,
like I'm very sure you would do that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying for a long time, like, anybody who's skimming off the top right now is just shooting themselves in the foot long term, right? Like there's I see the appeal of that, but you know, if you're able to demonstrate the performance,
I am not even able to see the appeal of that. Like, these are smart people. Just look at the real estate ecosystem and valuation that has resulted. Would it have made sense to skim off money on real estate and not keep it up, or sell it for 5 times more money? Like, how is it? It doesn't make any appeal to me anymore.
No, and I think people have done that in real estate, right? Like for a long time, and people started seeing like that's not a good business, but it's not even in my own best interest, right, to do that. And I mean, in fairness, I see a lot more laundromat owners doing things above board and above the table and keeping good records and all that stuff than I did even 5 years ago when I started doing consulting and helping people analyze business. But there's still so many owners that are they're not operating that way.
Like, I'll be very honest with you. I see in the next 10 years this market fundamentally changing because people who are skimming will sell. People, whoever are skimming right now, their money is not going to be enough because skimming would mean that you, anyways, are not able to offer the most ecosystem way or most technology forward way. You're trying to make sure cutting costs, trying to cut corners. Somebody's going to come to you, is going to say, hey, it's been great. You have been skimming money. I'll give you a 3x multiple.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to take that money because you've been cutting corners and you know from your heart it's not 5x multiple. And then that guy is going to modernize it and sell it for 5x. And you're going to feel, dude, that he did what I should have done. Yeah, it's gonna finally come up to that kind of an ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, he'll probably sell it for more than 5x. I'm seeing a lot of markets, they're starting at 5x right now. So,
like, just imagine if you skimmed off $50,000 to lose $500,000 and like feel bad about it that, hey, I was the custodian who actually built up that value, who built up the trust that this is Laundromat, it's going to stay in this community. I did all the effort for 20 years, and then a guy came in and in 4 years made double the money that I did for keeping the property warm for him. And smart people are looking for such properties. You might actually feel that, hey, you've made a great deal by getting 5x on your laundromat, as you said, and it might turn out to be not the smartest deal even in that case.
Yeah. Yeah. So real quick, just to anybody out there who's listening, that's maybe like, oh man, that's me. Here's a solution for you. Instead of skimming the 50 grand off the top, spend 5 of it on a good quality tax advisor who can help you develop a tax strategy that's going to offset that 50 grand of income anyways in a legal above board way. Keep the cash flow the same and maintain the value of your business. And that, I mean, that's the solution. That's what savvy business owners are doing right now.
I think everything that the upper guys have been doing, like more, or like I genuinely believe that organization flows from top to bottom. Like the people who have had money, billions of dollars of corporation money, hire tax advisors. So a businessman which makes 100 million understands that, hey, the billionaire is doing a tax advisor thing. Maybe I need to do it. Earlier, tax advisors used to be costly. I think we are in the golden age of technology disruption now. I think you would find, even if not the best, but probably a directional tax advice. You can find anything that you want right now, go in that direction. You just need to feel that you need to do it. And as you said, skimming destroys one thing that I love about laundromat business is the optionality. I don't like it tomorrow, I can sell. Skimming completely destroys that reputation. If that reputation comes across from a location that, hey, nobody knows what this location does, nobody's trying to buy it, the owner is finicky and it might look weird, it's gonna make the biggest sale of your life, that the one that you've been trying to make from that laundromat, more harder, and it makes no sense for me to do.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I want to go back to the core of this thing here. We've got PayRange and Turns coming together. Can you talk, like, what are the implications for laundromat owners? What does that mean for us? Why should anybody care about this?
50% of the laundromat operators still do not accept card in this ecosystem, and about 60% of the operators who do wash dry fold are trying wash dry fold but are not like seriously invested into this or have created a process. As you mentioned, it's our job to give them an ease with which they could deploy, with which they could do all of this as fast as possible, as cheap as possible, lowest barrier cost of entry. I feel I know why 50% of the people never had to accept cards, because card acceptance is expensive. Like, somebody who has bought a laundromat for $70,000, it's hard for them to say $40,000 is extra just to get the card acceptors on. And that's why we love PayRange. Like that's one of the first reasons that when I started Turns, I was not into hardware. I am a software guy. I started to be into hardware because of our operators who were there. They were asking me, they were telling me different feedback. And when I see PayRange, I realize that hey, this is again a hidden gem. That's why, like, they were given a great round of appraisal right now. I think they were given a great appreciative value. They were given a big investment. I understand because this is a hidden gem. At the end of the day, what $5,000 or $50,000 of worth of card system could do for you, you could do digitally for probably $2,000. And I understand someone might say that $50,000 is like a Cadillac, but you don't need to go everywhere in a Cadillac. Like that's what I feel like. If a line scooter can do, why do you need to bring out the big gun everywhere and pay for that big jet everywhere? So it's a simple, now fully featured solution. Like if you want to go ahead from PayRange, probably invest further into card solutions. We are already having card solutions that are coming into this ecosystem. And otherwise, the solution is so cheap, is so effective, and it's so simple that it makes no sense for me to not try it. So I genuinely believe 50% of the people who are still on coin should it should be 0% of the people who do not accept card. All 50% of the people should at least spend just $1,000, or probably we'll make it easier for them to just accept cards. And I've been to so many operators where they tell me that yes, like the biggest benefit of PayRange that I also feel, and I might sound like an older guy with this, is that I know there is a space for coin always in laundromats. Like I know there are people who would say, what kind of a rubbish opinion is this while selling a modern technology ecosystem? But the truth is, it's a very realistic expectation. Like I've gone to laundromats. I am one of those operators who's looking for coin because I don't want to keep buying. I am a traveler. I don't want to keep buying tons of different laundry cards for 10 different locations, which I'm just visiting once and leaving my money there for them to be claimed as float. Like for most of the in most of this is not great consumer experience, like from any perspective. With PayRange, you can be on coin always. Like there are gonna be people who are always gonna be on coin, and there is no need to piss them off. You get to have this as an additional option that anybody who wants to make it easier for them, not carry that 20 coins. If it's $12 on the 80 pounder, you don't get to pound that 50 coins up one after the other just to
Yeah.
start that machine. I think there is a lot of appeal for this. And the reason why this 35 to 40% has never gone is because $50,000 is a lot of money. It is a lot of money.
Mhm.
And I think there is a very clear niche for us. And and by the way, this is what makes me even happier because I don't think so we'll compete with any vendor because the people who are on full card ecosystems are on for a different kind of a ride altogether. They understand the implications. I see very few people who have mega investment into card pulling that out ever. But I've also seen zero amount of people pulling out PayRange also. It's low, considerably low, even when the barrier of entry is low. Because it becomes an easy for you to accept cards. And I think there is a big population which needs this. And here we are, we'll be there.
I love it. I love it. And like I think one of the downsides to a lot of these ecosystems has been the lack of integration of a payment system with a software to help you manage your business. And having another player kind of in that game is only going to benefit us, especially as you get that little twinkle in your eye and you're like, hey, I'm ready to sow some good chaos to try a whole bunch of different things and see, what we can make happen here.
I think this space is ripe. I think if you go to and talk to a restaurant operator, you would see that he's inundated with calls from vendors. There are 100 people calling him daily, buy this software, buy, put
Mhm.
it on this machine or put it on this table. Customer can come and check it by themselves. Customer can pay by themselves. They can be on mobile. Hundreds of things are being sold. For laundromat operators, I think they are the only people who are probably coming and saying, I want to buy this. Why is not nobody coming up with this? Why is nobody coming up with this? Like, where is why my distributor is not sending me machines? Like, these are the kind of issues that they're still stuck with.
Mhm.
There are five of us which can survive in this market and compete because the market is huge, as well as the more the people are, the more the space in this innovation would increase. I think people who are only hardware will struggle. People who are only software will struggle. The future is consolidation in our ecosystems, also in technology vendor space, also because you have to become the best product. You have to at least try and be the best product for a certain specific population. You just can't be half solution for somebody and expect the other people. And I think it might not happen in this way. We might not see consolidation, but we might now see more development happening where it becomes more open, that everybody can access it. Like something has to change now. And this is what makes it fun for me because this will push people to do things that A, haven't happened, or B, they didn't want it to happen. And both of the things will happen.
Yeah. And I mean, just frankly, like we need more. We need more. Like as owners and operators, like we need more technological help. You know, I was talking with another buddy yesterday, too, who was just saying, you know, like they have a software system to help them manage their business and their drop off and pick up and delivery and stuff, but they can't get some specific reporting that they need. And so they had to create a spreadsheet that now they have to manually enter stuff from their software to their spreadsheet in order to get the reporting they need, right? Like and this is a well-known, this is not yours, so don't worry, but this is a well-known software.
I absolutely would know. See, the worst part about this business is that when we talk, there are only 4 or 5 people, and all of us can understand where this is going. So I genuinely believe that if there are few people, it's our job to make sure that we get to the next stage. We have to build, and we will build, and I'm very sure everybody will follow. I think everybody wants the best for everyone in this industry. I think
Mhm.
this is a nicer industry. America is a nice place. As I said, you have not met the other side. So it's a nice industry. It's nice. It's a lot of good people trying to do the best. I don't even see the amount of competition between a laundromat operator, two laundromat operators across the street also. Like in I have seen in other businesses there is intense competition. Like there is intense amount of heat. So this means that there is a shared, as I said, this is a shared pain or a shared experience for a lot of people, and they realize that all of them can make money. We all have niche. We all have a space and location. We just have to pull. Because what I've seen is if in a location in a zip code, 4 people are not offering cards and one guy is, 4 have to go card. If they don't go card, what you're doing is you're giving all your valuation, all your effort, all your money to this fifth guy who just has put up a card acceptance. And we should all learn from this guy, these 4 guys, and make that effort. And it will make all 4 of them happy. Yes, the first guy might be more happy that he made more money, but then I think it's right for everybody to try the same, at least get to the same scale that the other guy is. I think this is an industry of matching. Everybody has to match at least.
Yeah, at least. And that's tomorrow's zombie mat, right? Like if you're not staying up with the technology, if you're not running your business well, like it used to be, even when I got in the business, it was like keep your place clean, keep your machines running, and smile when people come in, and you're gonna own your your market. Like everybody's going to come to you because you can't find that at a lot of laundromats. Well, that's starting to change now, and you can't just smile at people and keep the place clean. You've got to really serve the customers, right? And there's a big technological piece to that serving of the customers. And not only that, we've got to go above and beyond that, right? And so, like you said, if there's one laundromat that is serving their customers better, and one way they're doing that is, through offering a digital payment system, then guess what? If those other 4 laundromats don't respond, they're tomorrow's zombie mats. That one laundromat will own part of that. Part of that market.
In my opinion, if in a zone, in a location, one laundromat starts to behave exceptionally well, everybody has to behave exceptionally well. It's gonna eat everybody's lunch. And because from a perspective of a guy who's coming there, he would always expect that, hey, once I buy this laundromat, I'm gonna get the 3 out. They're gonna close. Nobody's gonna come and buy this junk then because I'll destroy it to that scale. They have to match. And you said you have to be at your store, you have to clean that store, you have to make the machines working and smile. 90% of the operators are not able to do this much. And that's why they need all the technology, because trust me, if a founder is always there, if the operator is always there in the store, they would make twice the money that they do. But the operator can't be at the store. That's why he has to create these processes. That's why he needs this technology. So trust me, you still have to do these 4. If you can't do these 4, then no matter what technology you put in, it's gonna be hard.
That's exactly right. Like that's the baseline now. That's 0. That's ground level. And you got to go up from there. It used to be, that was the pinnacle. Like, right? If you could do those things, you're there. You're going to dominate your market.
We're growing. That's what I'm saying. Every market is growing. Every market has more customer expectations. Earlier, people were happy if a restaurant delivered. Now they're unhappy if he delivers in 35 minutes. Tomorrow they'll be unhappy that it doesn't deliver in 10 minutes. And it's going, the future of human race is forward. It's not backward. So our expectations grow. And I think that's what is happening with laundromats. The expectations are growing and they will keep growing. So we are smart people. I think, as I said, laundromat operators are smart people. We always figure stuff out.
Yeah. And I mean, one good thing to do, right, is to like take a look at other industries, right? Whether it's a restaurant or take, for example, like we don't go to the grocery store anymore. We order our groceries online, and it used to be like, okay, we're going to need groceries tomorrow, so we need to order groceries today so that we make sure they get delivered to our house in time for tomorrow. But now we order groceries and they're there the same day and usually within a few hours. Now I'm in Southern California, and like not everybody can do that. But that's, like you said, that progression, I mean, that's where we're progressing, right? Those time frames are getting quicker and quicker. And in fact, the quicker you can get the result that customers want from you, whether that's pick up and deliver or whatever it is, the more valuable that is to them, and the more attractive that will be for them, but also the higher you can charge for that service.
Like, as I said, if you have a stable pickup and delivery business, you're even more golden than a stable self-service business. Like, just see from this space. It's great if you're a self-service owner, you have great business, awesome. If you add a stable wash, dry, fold on this business, whatever multiple this will be higher. This space would be higher. And if you have a pickup and delivery business, this space would be higher than both of them. Even if they all make the same money. Like $100,000 of self-serve might be valued at 500,000, but 100,000 of wash, dry, fold would be valued at 750,000. Simply because it's almost very hard to build. And it's hard to build. Those customers are heavier customers, would like to pay more. You could go into their wallet further. And $100,000 of pickup and delivery will be 100% valued at $1 million. Like, that's exactly like software. Like, as I said, a lot of people are now realizing that what bigger money decisions made have a lot of criterias which run on them. And now, as new operators or younger generation, this information is getting more and more democratized. Everybody gets to learn, oh, this is why this asset company won against this company, because they realize this is more stable than this. Like, now we get to see this and experience this and probably do this with our with the buys that we make, with the stuff that we do. Like a software company example, and this is my company lies in my field example. A company which does only stuff for laundromats is valued more than a company which does stuff for everyone, because the laundromat company can be the only one which does this for them. We are the only ones which can go deep. So a laundromat operator should, I think, go deep. And the next money is bigger than the last money is more motivating to me. I think this makes it much more motivating to be a laundromat operator than probably 30 years ago. Our not mine, but let's say your grandfather, if he would have had a laundromat, his main job would have been trying to make sure that the first four things that you said. Now there will be fifth where you will have to have drop off. There will be sixth in the future where you will have to have pick up and delivery. And it may not work everywhere, everybody would say. But let's say a $60,000 pickup and delivery business. And by the way, I might be completely wrong on the numbers, you just correct me. In Spokane is much more valuable than a $60,000 business in Manhattan, because it's just very hard to do it in Spokane. So somebody who would be buying in Spokane would be paying 10x for it. Whereas somebody who will be in New York probably might be paying only 5x or 7x for it. So every effort that a laundromat operator makes has a number associated with it. Every revenue jump, every $1,000 probably can result in tens of thousands of dollars for you in the bigger space. So go.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that you bring up the valuation, because I'm seeing like an interesting thing happening. Because for a while there, I was seeing a lot of like the pickup and delivery business valued less than the self-serve, and the argument for it is that there's more work involved and more liability there, and more logistics, and you're more hands-on, so it's less attractive. And I still think a lot of people view it that way. But I'm also
I'll give you the opposite way. If it's so costly to get that revenue in, like let's say I'm buying a pickup and delivery business, I know it's hard. I know it's a lot of effort. Would I pay more for it, or would I make that effort? I would pay more for it, right? Like if I know to build this $100,000, I'll have to spend $250,000. Why would I not buy it for 235 then and there, rather than haggling over whether I should even see? Who doesn't want to do this would not ever buy this. Anybody who's saying that I don't want to buy laundromat because it's going to be too much effort, pinch of salt, like every opinion. But I'm just saying from a smart person perspective, I might be wrong altogether. Somebody might just come and give me the other option. But which revenue is harder to build? Pickup and delivery. So which would be valued more? Pickup and delivery.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm saying is like this. I've been watching this shift happen where people are like, I don't really want pickup and delivery. It's too much work. It's more liability. I'm taking responsibility for people's clothes. But like I was kind of mentioning earlier, like we're sort of in like a gold rush type of scenario here with this pickup and delivery. And so people are starting to see exactly what you're saying, that the pickup and delivery is actually more valuable. And I would even take it further and say that, if it's going to take me, I have to invest $250,000 to invest in building up pickup and delivery from scratch. It's going to make $100,000. I would argue it's probably worth $350,000 to me now.
I didn't want to give that number away, because then people would be looking at it like, this Indian guy is coming and teaching us shit. That's not true.
I'll say, I mean, everybody knows Americans are dumb, so I have no problems, being dumb over here. But I would say, you could buy that $100,000 now, for even more than it would cost you to invest to build it yourself, and you're benefiting from the revenue now and not later.
Like dry cleaners, when they sell their businesses, do you know how they sell their businesses? They do not usually sell it full. They sell it part by part. I've seen dry cleaners sell $1 million routes. This is what they did not sell the delivery business. They
Just the
sold
route.
a route of that delivery business for $1 million. So anybody who's saying pickup and delivery is a stupid business, it should not be valued, is like, okay, maybe. It's
Now, but
already happening. Smart people are doing this. You may just get behind the curve and let me have the opportunity. I'll take that.
yeah, well, I think, as we're talking about like savvy people coming into this industry, right? You're starting to say like, well, what's my time worth? Like, do you know how much time it's going to take me to build from, like, go listen to Mark Vlaskamp's episode of the interview where he talks about how hard it was to build his business that he sold for multi-million dollars of
Like
just pickup and delivery.
and by the way, it's not unique to Americans. Pickup and delivery business building is hard everywhere. Like
Mhm.
I do this in Australia, hard. I do this in Singapore, hard. I do this in India, hard. I do this in Dubai, hard. I do this in South Africa, hard. And I do this in multiple other countries, hard. So
Mm-hmm.
trust me, all of them want to win and they understand this. More and more savvy people are coming in. I see more and more conversations like this should be done. I should not be working in the business. I should not be doing this as a job. If you get $150,000 or a good value of delivery built in, you're in the right space. It's first of all, it's very hard to build it. So don't be disheartened if you're not able. And if you see even directions going towards it that, hey, it can grow, then don't keep this in your heart. Go for it. Like, no point keeping this in your heart and probably selling your laundromat for 5x or 6x at best. A guy who would have a delivery or a full ecosystem associated will be selling for more, will be selling faster, and will be selling much better. It would take some part of you, but then I think you get to enjoy for a longer period of time. Like you make more money if you make more $1 million, then yes, probably no more laundromats for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just talking to a guy. He's in the community over here, and he started building a pickup and delivery, and he doesn't own a laundromat yet. And we're just, when I'm consulting with people who've already either owned laundromats or pickup and delivery business or whatever, it's like 50-50, helping them solve problems, giving them advice, strategizing, that kind of stuff. And then the other 50 is like pep talk and keeping people, because it's hard.
I was just gonna say the opposite. For me, it's only 15% of telling them.
You might be right.
90% of the time, I'm just telling them, dude, I know this is hard. I am in pain. You're in pain. I'm in pain. You're in pain. We'll go through. Through. And sometimes this pain has no answer. Yes, I'll be very honest with you. Not every location is built up to make $150,000 on delivery.
Mm-hmm.
But then if that is not built in for that delivery, you actually paid lower prices to get into. If that place was very sexy for delivery, by the way, the guy who was owning this would have understood it and would have factored it in his price.
Mm-hmm.
So just maximize whatever we have and try it at least, because I see a lot of people saying this is too much work. Why should I do this? This is going to make you money. Like that's what we are in for laundromats for. Like, why not try this? If it pays, you get to know very early. Like it's very easy to understand that it's going to be a very hard slog very soon. Like, if it won't work, trust me, this is not a business which will suddenly start working after 5 years. If it won't work, it won't work from the first day. And if it would work, it would show signs from the first month onwards.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. And you're probably right. It is probably more like 85-90% counseling, encouraging, and just empathizing, right? But all that said, like, one of the things we're talking about on that call with him is you got to make a decision if you're going to go all in or not. Like if you're not going to go all in, because he's at a point where he's built a pretty good business, but he wants to take it to the next level. And we got to say, hey, listen, it's time to commit. Like, are you building the business or what are you doing? It's
exactly like marriage, man. Like you have to finally say yes. If it's what's all the foreshadowing and for playing for, if it's not going to be a yes, then it's just pointless.
Yep.
Like, and at the end of the day, we are in this business. Anybody who bought Laundromat would have bought it with the idea that we are going to make money. Like, we have to make money. We have to grow this business to its full potential. Anybody who, and I'm, by the way, no way saying that everybody should do whatever like I'm saying. I am just saying, if you choose the direction of saying, I don't want to do this, then just know the consequence that you have left the value of the property 50% lower. You're okay with it. Like, I want to make my life easy. Life has to be simple. I don't want to work hard. 50% lower pay is fine. Then fine. But if you want to make double the pay, then this is the industry that you'll have to go and run horses in. Because, by the way, everybody else is doing it in the other industry too. It's hard for them too. They are also in pain too, and they also want to make money too.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Well said there. Well said. And, it's interesting. There's a contingent of people who are like, I want to make laundromats as passive as possible. And there's a growing contingent of people, I think, that are saying, I'm building a business here. Like, I'm not trying to, minimize what I do.
Yeah,
I'm building a business.
Survive and claw. Like, you have to do everything that makes you money. And see, the people who want to do only self-serve businesses usually open up multiple laundromats.
Yep.
Dude, their life is even more like, it's not easy doing that either. Just imagine X number of people coming to your laundromat, vandalizing 100 types of problem, card systems everywhere. Some goes wrong, some goes left. There are gonna be tons of employees. So, by the way, if somebody is doing only a part and going deeper, that shows that there is a lot of effort there. It will take a lot more money to get towards that side. Want to do that? Know the consequences. Let's go there too. Like, I am the full believer that laundromat has to be maximized. That laundromat, that location, that machinery deserves more money. That's what they're there for. Fill that coin box, get that money in.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I love it, man. And first of all, thank you for coming on again. And I always love our conversations. You get me all fired up about what's going on. And then when you're dropping huge news like this merger here between PayRange and Turns, and just the implications of that, like, I'm amped up. I always leave these calls just super psyched and cannot wait to get this one out. As we sort of wrap this thing up, and it may be too soon to even know, but any fun on the horizon for you guys with this merger? Any ideas already brewing?
I'm here in Portland. My job, and this is I would say this is the shoot part. Like, I've been following American wrestling for so long. Like, I love it. Like, I want to shoot. I will be in Portland for next conceivable future till we win 50% of Portland. Like, everybody on Portland has to accept credit cards, whether it be us, whether it be somewhere else. And once we get that direction in, that is when we'll go towards the next city. So for Portland, you get to see me a lot more. It's miserable weather, but I love Portland. Let's go.
I love it. Man, I mean, listen, there's people listening right now that are in or near Portland. If they want to connect with you, what's the best way to connect with you?
I'm always available on Sukanth@turnsapp.com. Reach out to me on LinkedIn, email me, go on our website, fill a form. I'll personally come and visit you. Like, you get to have the benefits of this. And then probably I'll give you a lot of yapping, and I'll get you some Indian food, which is very rare to find really in America.
Yeah. Well, listen, just be prepared, because one of my favorite things about having you on the podcast is I can basically say, hey, what's going on? And then I can lean back and just let you do the rest of the podcast, because you can just go, man. You can talk about this industry all day.
You're my guy to tell all this. Like, you get to see it firsthand. All my customers get to see it the other hand. I am pretty sure half of them would be saying we're very happy that they are now acquired by PayRange. Somebody else will take the call.
Yeah. Well, listen, dude, I love it. And I'm super excited about this. I mean, we'll for sure, be doing this again in the probably near future to talk about what kind of chaos you're stirring up in the industry, and what innovations are coming around the corner. So I'm excited, and I'm excited for you to have some resources behind you to be able to, that brain that's always cranking, that's always bringing great stuff when you come on these interviews is going to be turn loose on this industry to be able to be creative. I'm excited about it.
This is the dream. Like I genuinely believe you work with so many operators. If given an opportunity, you want to work with the most number of them. I want to meet every operator. I want to say that I have friends in 100 cities, probably every place, and I can get a meal. Like these are the kind of Indian dreams I have, but let's go. This is what we are here for.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. I think it's an attainable goal, and I bet there are people in over 100 cities that would want to meet you and hang out with you and be your friend. So I'll make sure your contact information is in the show notes page there so people can connect with you. And listen, I'm excited about this. Thank you for coming on here to share it with us. And like I said, we're going to have to follow the saga of this merger and all the implications. I'm excited what it means for laundromat owners across the country and beyond even.
We're going to make news. We're going to stay in the news. Let's go.
Let's go. I love it. I love it. All right, man. Thank you again for coming on. I hope you love that interview with Sukanth. Such good stuff there. Congrats to Turns and PayRange for striking a deal, making a partnership. It's going to benefit them, but also it's going to benefit us. And I can't wait to hear what kinds of things they innovate together and how that synergy brings transformation to our businesses and gives us more tools, more resources, more power, more control over our businesses so that we can build the life of our dreams. So listen, I know we talked about a whole lot of stuff in there, and the main theme of that episode was this merger or this acquisition that PayRange acquired Turns. However, Sukanth is he's like an encyclopedia of wisdom in the business. So pick something out of it, put it into action today, if possible, this week at the very least, and we'll see you next week on the show. Peace.